was basically kind of posting a lot of bi jokes. These are bi jokes which are very wrong jokes. The thought like these are something which are being put into like one of the best joke is like bisexuals are those people who can kind of moan in two different languages because there's a bi in it. So I kind of the creative nerve of bisexuals are really wonderful, and I think that we are often being kind of misplaced in the society, that we kind of share a common idea of jokes about what we kind of feel, the idea of queer joy. And these are also something which sometimes it's very funny when the idea of being a bisexual, like I still remember that each and every point in time I walk into any kind of like a non-queer space, like general spaces, people often see me that I'm a straight person, and then they kind of figure out that I'm doing drag, and then they come back to me as a bisexual. Before that they are like, oh hi, hello, and once they realize I'm bisexual they kind of distance themselves. I was like, okay, I'm not interested. My standards are not not that low for sure. But having said that, that is something which is a very common situation which I usually face. And yeah, even this is something which might be very blatant to say, but many of the bisexual peoples are wonderful comics. And we have and bisexual women basically. So I know a couple of bisexual women whom I'm following. They are wonderful comics, both internationally and in India, which is very kind of a rare what we say rare what is it called, like parity, which I'm trying to kind of analyze. But it doesn't need to be, you doesn't need to be bisexual to be a best comic. But eventually that is something which seems to be happening in this world.
Can you give some examples? Who
Like
are
Lily
these
Singh is
comics?
one. Lily Singh,
Right.
and in India there is I'm not sure, their name is Sweta, if I'm correct.
Swati
Swati,
Sachdev.
Swati. Yeah, Swati
Yeah.
Sachdev. Yeah. So, yeah, if you see that, both of them are wonderful comics, and both of them are, very kind of funny, and bisexual. So, which is like, really great era. And I also know there is, I'm not aware about that, but I've seen some wonderful trans comics as well, using bisexuality as a way of kind of, cracking jokes and engaging with people. So even that is something which is really good. So we give a lot of content for sure.
How do you mean like using bisexuality
So
to
basically
crack?
cracking jokes about the experiences of bisexual people. So this is again, I'm not sure if they are bisexual, that hence I kind of framed it in that way. Having said that, they tell how exactly it happens, like what exactly is the intersectionality of bisexuality and transness kind of comes into picture. And this is something which as there is a context, I wanted to share this. I have a partner, I have a heterosexual partner, and one fine day, late night at 2 o'clock, she wakes up and she's like, I'm bisexual. And I was like, how can you say that? You're bisexual. You haven't explored with any other gender apart from, my gender. No, and she's like, no, 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 I think I'm bisexual because, see, I like you when you are doing drag. I like you when you are not doing drag. So I'm kind of embracing both your genders. So hence I'm bisexual. I was like, yeah, that is a good definition, but it's very latent to kind of say that. But I think that is a funny situation as well. These are some of the experiences which bi people
I mean,
often have.
like that makes a lot of sense to me, because I also see. I mean, so I mean, I have known I was bisexual. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I was attracted to both genders from like a very young age. Before, I even understood like the concept of queerness and bisexuality and all of that. But yeah, but I totally relate to that, because I'm like, oh my god. Like, I mean, if you watch like RuPaul's Drag Race, it's like in drag hot, out of drag hot. Like like so yeah, that makes sense. Also, like I also just want to mention, like, also, like, I mean, she doesn't need to experiment with like people of like
Huh. But
I
I
don't know,
was
many
basically like,
different
this.
genders.
Yeah, I think I kind of converted her to become queer. I don't know. I just, the blatant myth of bisexuals that they can convert anybody to be queer. I had just done that.
But don't you think, like, I mean, I'm just asking because it's your wife, like, you know her very well. uh, don't you think like she, like, the fact that she married you, right? And like she was into you and you don't identify as a man, right? And I'm sure like even before you come out or say these things like, in a straightforward way, someone who is falling in love with you or someone who knows you as a person, like I think they would sort of, maybe feel these things anyway. And after that, if the person is like still attracted to you and wants to marry you and all of that, I think it kind of doesn't it make, I mean, it makes sense for her to be queer, you know?
I I guess so, but I will kind of leave it to her. She comes and
Yeah, of course.
yeah. Having said
Yeah,
that, this is the very I don't know. Like sometimes I feel that she's just attracted to me as a person,
yeah.
or she's somebody who
Which
has
is
kind of
very queer.
yeah, she doesn't want the labels to be there, and I think it
Right,
also
yeah.
kind of she's pushing it more into the statement of not wearing labels. I sometimes
Yeah,
though I'm a non-binary person, I tend to become subtle. I look out for my safe space to gender express,
yeah,
and in my usual family setup, which is basically with my relatives or people around, like my home, it's a safe space. My home, as in my mom and dad, where I'm staying with, that's a safe space. However, if there is anything else which is beyond that, like I do attend my family functions as well. I don't have another choice for kind of saying, and they treat me like a celebrity, which is bullshit. But having said that, they are not kind of okay if I'm showing my queerness over there. So in order to navigate those, I don't present my gender expression in my relative spaces. So but she is very pushy about doing it, like if there was this small get together which we kind of organized for for the baby shower. Basically, there's a ritual which they do in Telugu communities, basically, to kind of bless the mother and the child. And she said, like, I want to get do it grand. I was like, yes, go ahead. And then she's like, there are a lot of relatives who are kind of coming in, and she was insisting me to have a mehendi because she had a mehendi. So I had a mehendi on both my hands, and I was going ahead and doing it. So she somewhere pushed me to be in a comfortable space to kind of gender express. And I think that was really wonderful. Like, I think she does understand from where or what my situation is, basically. And I don't know, like, if she's square, she will tell it to me, like, tell it to the world
yeah.
whenever it's time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. But also like, oh my god, that's so sweet. That is such a like wow, love, like how she's like being an ally to you, like as a cis woman, like the fact that, because it's basically using her sort of cis privilege in that situation to kind of like make it a safe space for you to express yourself more. That's so lovely. Oh,
Great.
happy for you. um okay, so there is this, okay, random question I've just found on Quora. How can I know if my boyfriend is bisexual? How can I find out whether or not my boyfriend is gay? I'm a bisexual man who prefers only bisexual men and women. My boyfriend said he was bisexual, but all his exes are guys. What?
Oh
Oh my
god.
god, wow. I started reading this thinking I started reading this thinking it's going to be like some, straight girl who's like so anxious about her boyfriend being like some kind of queer or whatever. But what is this?
No, it's actually not a straight girl for sure. It's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
a queer person.
So he says, I'm a bisexual man who prefers only bisexual men and women. Like, what a problem to have. Like, what is this? Oh, someone responded, if you are actually bisexual, to be honest, you are doing your fellow bisexuals a huge disservice by posting a question like this.
No, I,
Like,
I
what
I can
is
understand from where this person is kind of coming from, because
okay, please, yeah.
yeah, I think what they're trying to kind of see is like, okay, I have a bisexual, I have another person who is bisexual. We don't have boundaries to kind of curtail into. We can kind of explore the idea of, I think might be they are also somebody who are not monogamous. Might be they are poly, and this setup definitely kind of works if they are dating a bisexual person. Having said that, the requirement, it just sounds like the matrimonial ad which usually which comes on the newspaper. Telling that, I just need a bisexual person, I don't need a, like the labels of bisexuality, which is basically stupid. And how do you decide whether somebody is bisexual or not just by seeing their previous partners? And I don't think this is something which is which is very, like a serious thing to kind of check around, because usually what exactly is happening as of now is I'm married to a heterosexual woman, but I still use the bisexual label. I kind of talk about it, and tons and tons of messages kind of come into my Instagram DMs telling that, how many sexual partners you have, who are they, like do you kind of are in an open relationship, or how does that work? How many people you dated before marriage? And I was like, why are you asking statistics about my sexual life? It's not something which I have to give you, and it's not definitely Sach Ka Samna or Ishq. What is that called? Kind of reality shows where you are asking me some questions and you're giving me bounty points, or you would like to kind of make a documentary about my sex life, which I'm not kind of really interested in. So I think it's really this is a very common question which every bisexual people has to kind of answer. They think that bisexual people are somebody who's kind of having multiple partners, and there's always this confusion about bi and pansexuality, the spectrum, as well as the polyamorous spectrum. They kind of see it very interlined or intergend, which is not always the situation. I'm a monogamous person, and I kind of date one person at a time. And for the past I think for the past 1.5 year, I can also kind of say that how exactly I feel sexuality. My sexuality or my sexual relationship with a same sex person, or if I'm saying that if there's a man whom I'm kind of sexually attracted to, I never got attracted to them romantically. It was only sexually. But when I'm connected to, or when I'm attracted to a woman, it was always romantically and then sexually. So it is very very distinctive way of how you are looking into a relationship. And having said that, it was an year of exploration, like 6 to 7 years I was in closet, and then I have to come out to people, and then I have to explore, set my grounds, what exactly I am. And if you just want to decide how many partners I have, how many sexual partners I have, and if that gives you a better understanding of my bisexuality, I don't have to tell you. I don't need your validation about bisexuality as well. And I think that is what is happening. Like, people are obsessed with the idea of sexuality bisexuals carry. Like they are the next persons who are to be fetishized, before lesbian women. So I think this is very bad when it kind of comes to understanding bisexuality, or in the very first place.
Yeah, I mean, I think, okay, lots of interesting things happening here. Like, I like how, first of all, you said that the only way that this guy's question is justified is if he's looking for some polyamorous situation, which I think you're like being really kind and empathetic. I hope that is the reason. Other than him, I don't know, just being obsessed about people he's dating being bisexual to the point that his boyfriend feels like he has to tell him that he's bisexual, and he's like, nahi, he's still doing like his own, investigation about
Yeah.
it.
Can you prove it? That's the second question.
Yeah, yeah. So I think if he's doing that to enter like, polyamory situation or whatever, yeah, I mean that's a different conversation he needs to have with his boyfriend. But also the fact that, yeah, polyamory is confused with bisexuality so often. um I found this like really interesting post earlier when I was looking through this. I'm just trying to find it again. Just give me 1 second. Mhm. Just give me a few minutes. Yeah, I
I
can't.
have this very wonderful question which I have seen. It says, are cross dressers bisexual?
Right, yeah.
I was like, the word cross dressing itself is very kind of debatable, word. And then I know that there is this entire community of people who are cross dressers. I'm using the word very loosely over here, and
Yeah.
people who are in a bisexual setup but just want to gender express themselves, and or they're straight people, for example. There are a lot of straight men who just do cross dressing. There are cross dressing clubs which usually are being hosted, where straight men go, they dress up, they present themselves, they kind of connect, they interact. Might not be sexually, but is just a way of gender expressing. So I think uh, that has nothing to do with your sexuality. It's a very
Yeah.
different thing. And so I think that is one other part which we need to understand, is like, we can't even predict every bisexual person to be cross-dressers or vice versa. It can be, it's very different. Two are very different things, and one is a choice of how they express their gender, and the other one is the idea of sexuality.